Hi everyone, I'm Catherine, the artist behind Bigelow Fine Arts. How are you progressing on the compass in Enchanted Forest? I'd love to know. This is the third day of daily coloring in the Enchanted Forest, and I'm working up the next section of the compass face. Check out the playlist if you want to follow along from the beginning. Otherwise, I've got some pencils sharpened and I'm ready to get started on this page. Join in and color along with me. So yesterday, after laying on a yellow ochre and not being impressed with how it was looking, I tried a few other colors off screen and still wasn't feeling it. If I wanted a parchment look, I think I found it, but this wasn't the bronze or coppery look I was aiming for. After scrolling through Pinterest and Google for compass rose and compass pictures to see if something else would catch my eye, I finally came across someone else's version of the same page with a yellow to orange center and liked how it looked. So if you want to check out the same video, look for Julie's passion for coloring. She did a great job on it and I took my inspiration from it. I'll see if I can link it in the cards above. I took my kneaded eraser and removed the ochre and various other attempted colors, essentially bringing it back down to the first layer of cream I initially laid down. Back to square one. I began almost fresh. I liked the colors from the video, but I did end up changing out the last color for something I preferred more. In total, I had 8 colors. For a quick overview, I colored the first 2 sections with 2 colors each, blending them together to create the gradient. So to begin, starting in the center with the light cadmium yellow, I filled in half the center circle. I'm working up a quarter of the compass face so I can zoom in close enough for you to see well. I gave the center of the section more layers than the middle part to ensure good coverage of color, but still light enough to blend into the second color. Coming in with the cadmium yellow, I filled in the rest of the section, making sure to blend into the middle lightly so the colors would come together. I came back with the light cadmium yellow to finish the blending and fill in any spots I might have missed on the first pass. In order to make the next section feel like it is all part of the same gradient, I used the dark cadmium yellow at the edge of the first section, blending it into the cadmium yellow. I then filled in half of the next section with the dark cadmium yellow, adding more layers closer to the center edge and less towards the middle to create a smooth blend. I finished off the section with the dark chrome yellow, adding fewer layers in the middle than on the end. I again came back in with dark cadmium yellow to finish the blend, fill in any missing spots, and smooth out the transition in colors. I added in a light layer of the cadmium orange before moving on to the last but larger section. I'll be leaving the final section closest to the bezel alone for now. I began this section with the cadmium orange. I initially had 3 colors picked out for this section, but in the end I felt it needed a 4th color. After filling in the bottom third of the section, I went in with the light cadmium red along the outer edge to fill that third of the section in. I left a gap in the middle to blend the colors together after. I gave the outer section around the leaves more layers than the inner part. In order to blend the colors together, I had saved back the orange glaze, which neatly falls between the light cadmium red and the cadmium orange. The orange glaze filled in the section between the two colors, helping to blend them together. I came back in with the cadmium orange to blend into the orange glaze better. Sitting back, I felt it needed another color, so I came in with the deep scarlet red to add in a layer just along where the leaves lay and blended it into the light cadmium red. This worked really nicely and finished off the gradient effect the way I wanted it. That covers 1/4 of the compass face. With one section finished, I am now able to go through and work up the next section pretty quickly. This part of the face and background part of the compass rose took almost 4 hours to complete, not including any time I spent trying to figure out the background. This second section is worked up the exact same way as the first section. I began with the cadmium yellow at the very center of the section, followed by the dark cadmium yellow, blending it into the cadmium yellow with a light hand. I then finished off the section with a light layer of dark chrome yellow to help make it look like the gradient continues under the branch. The next section begins with the dark cadmium yellow. I used fewer layers in the center and more layers near the branch. The dark chrome yellow finishes off this section with more blending with the dark cadmium yellow to bring the two colors together. I use the cadmium orange along the dashes to set up for the next and final section. Once I have that in place, I hop over to the third section, color 1/3 of it with the cadmium orange. I use the light chrome red along the parts with the vines and leaves. With the orange glaze, I can now blend these two colors together to create a smooth gradient. I finished off the section with the deep scarlet red coming under the leaves like a shadow. This finishes off the top half of the face of the compass. Tomorrow I'll finish the bottom of the compass face. That covers today's coloring. I'll be back tomorrow with the next part of this page. I hope you've been following along and enjoying the new format. Let me know below. I'd love to see how your compass is coming along. I have my social media links below. Find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Patreon. If you have any questions or page requests, please leave them below or reach out to me on social media. I put in a list of chapter breaks in the show notes as well as a list of equipment I like to use. If you use any of the affiliate links, it really helps me out without costing you a thing. I want to thank you all so much for coming along and joining in with me on this coloring journey. I appreciate all of my subscribers and look forward to more of you joining in and coloring along with me. That will only happen if you like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, happy coloring!